imminently charged. At that point, I wasn't aware. To that extent, I knew that I said to the journalist of the Sunday World that there is no smoke without fire. What excites me and what I said to my wife was that we have had this hanging over our heads for some time. Perhaps it is time that we use the open courts to defend an innovation that we engineered back in 2010, supported by the late Comrade Edna Molewa, who was the Minister of Environmental Affairs, and which we went on to create employment for many others. It was through this innovation that during COVID times and when people were being given relief, we were able to create over 3,000 jobs in the Eastern Cape, over 1,000 jobs in Mpumalanga, some more 1,000 jobs in the Northwest Province. We are proud of this because the beneficiaries of these innovations are there. They are living beings. Those that sought to cast doubt about our ability to innovate, we must say to many other young people out there who are peace-loving, who are Democrats themselves, that they must not be stopped. If it means coming to courts to defend that which we did to benefit the people of South Africa, and if it means that will make us look corrupt in the eyes of others, we are ready to pay that solemn price. Because we are hardworking. Everything else that we have ever earned in this country came out of our hard work. If you asked the investigating officer if they knew who innovated the kariki that they are trying to even figure out how it looks like in court, they would be surprised. That is actually amongst one of the accused persons. We are being told today that it constitutes a crime to give our wives monies earned legitimately in business dealings. So we'll hear how that becomes a crime. I was never part of any government department where I will have signed off an appointment to myself or anything like that. When I went to Parliament, I did what is expected of us. I resigned my directorship from Enviro Mabe at the time. I did not dissociate with Enviro Mabe. I just resigned as a director because I'm expected to do so when I take up public office. So sometimes in 2019, some chaps from the SIU tried their luck, went into one of the suppliers we're working with to help with the building of our karikis, trying to chase. You see, if you have got a case against a person, don't behave like a fisherman. Don't carry a rod trying to check where you'll find the biggest fish. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. If you believe that an individual has got a case to answer, do so. You don't go out of your way to create cases where they don't exist. It is not our job to talk about the merits or demerits of the case. Well, the Honorable Magistrate has already expressed herself on some of the things, including how the preparations of today would have gone through. We trust in the ability of the investigating team. We also have got confidence in the prosecutorial team that in doing their work, they will make sure that they apply themselves to the correct facts put before them. This which we are today being accused of, by the way, and by the way, I'm not even worried to associate with this innovation. It is my innovation. It is part of my academic studies at the UNISA School of Business Leadership. The very masters that was being read about here in this courtroom. In my thesis, in my research work, I wrote about this innovation. So there's nothing wrong. So maybe South Africans need to start knowing that being accused of crimes does not mean you are guilty. When you are accused, it means there's something you did which you have to explain. It doesn't mean that you are in the wrong. And what did we do? We innovated. This now gives us a platform to clarify how that innovation works. You have never heard ordinary South Africans complaining that they did not receive the motorized three-wheelers. Here in Eguruleni, in Tshwane, and many other parts of Gauteng, there are many way speakers who have received these motorized three-wheelers. as part of enabling the informal waste economy. They've never complained. Today, we are being told here in court that some 103 or 101 Garikis are sitting in Suikerbos. An investigation has activated a white elephant. South Africans are going to be complaining that their government is not delivering. No, this government is delivering. But that which government delivers, when it is being investigated, anything you do in government, once it is being investigated, I can tell you now, government officials are even scared to start touching that thing. Now, you did that broadcast, more than 100 of them will not be fixable. The cost of fixing them will be higher than the cost of doing a new project because the project was under investigation. Who suffers? The guys you meet in Santen pushing trolleys. That is the problem we're trying to resolve. How many of you feel for those guys? When you drive your cars every day, you pass by Santen. We are trying to give these people mobility using the instruments of our own government. We are later on accused that, man, even this amount, doing rounds in an account of a black person is not possible. And then it starts jumping into family members. This one who's my wife, who's supposed to take care of her? When I spend sleepless nights working at home and being paid for my hard-earned labor, she becomes the rightful beneficiary, her and my kids. It's nothing wrong, because we'll not have stolen from anyone. But we're happy that this matter is now before an open court. An open court will allow us to ventilate on this. We're also happy that the ANC, through its renewal processes, has created mechanism for cadres who are once indicted to appear in a court of law must step aside. That time of stepping aside will allow me, my family, and those close to us, the space to attend to this. It will allow me the space to reflect on this and to also discuss more fully with the legal team. If we come to a determination that there were some in this investigation who were driven by ulterior motives, we will not wait. We are going to exercise our rights against those individuals. Because but what's on Chibatsebe or Asure we now legally tagorin lamlao. Ona leto kaya witirela kadi tokelo jabat baba. La bona mo South Africa. Gertsa mari lo voter. Regardless of what position you thing, all of us vote once. Even police officers who are guarding voting stations, but vote at themselves. Tegi knows nothing about the Garikis. She has never been involved. She was seeing some of these people for the first time here. We are not going to talk about the merits and demerits of the case because there are issues of law as well which will have to be ventilated upon. We are being told that this case was opened in 2020. Now I want to know, who's the original complainant of this case? We also want to know, through disclosure, that when they first complained about this case, what were they complaining about? Were they complaining about me being a member of parliament because I would have resigned at that time? Were they complaining that the motorized three-wheelers were not delivered? Were they complaining that there were no beneficiaries? Were they complaining that there was no process? I had something strange today in court. That when Pule Mabe, which we had allowed or left Tenyego to be the director of when we went to do other public duties, did not have the experience to do the work. How can a company that had already concluded a five-year arrangement of the same project out in the Free State not have experience to do the work? But how can a company that housed the innovator of that which they were implementing not have that experience? Then you read some names of companies to us. Because the first thing that you must, that's the reason why they were saying from the side of the prosecution, they were saying that it's difficult to get some of the parts. It's because you are charging the people who are the only ones in South Africa, by the way, who are supposed to assist you fix that problem. Now, we can't stop South Africans from innovating and from using their innovations to generate employment and to create a strong supply chain that resolves the socio-economic challenges of our people. This is our country. If the new democratic order means we'll have to come to courts to defend our ideas as black people, we're going to do that. We will do it even under our own government. We will convince our government that these innovations done by ourselves, born and bred here in the country, are also helpful. If there are accounting or governance issues that you pick up in that process, work with us to make sure that the public service, the legislations, the laws we have in the Republic can allow for this kind of things to also be implemented. Well, we're going to be coming to court. We'll participate throughout all of the processes that they have outlined. We'll also hand over our passports if we need to do so. We'll assist the courts to understand how this innovation worked. If they come to a determination that for whatever reason we were wrong, we'll subject ourselves to whatever determination that they make. But this does not change the fact that we are peace-loving South Africans who are patriots, who also want to make a difference in the lives of others. We're very much inspired by the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who professes that we must do right by living through others. So these innovations was part of us living through others. Maybe there were certain errors. If those errors happened to a point that they even attracted the attention of law enforcement agencies, we are willing to subject ourselves to that process. And we're also willing to pay the ultimate price. If that price comes with a suspense of our freedom, we shall subject ourselves to that. We're not going to go out and scream, shout against law enforcement agencies, no. We'll listen to their case. We will determine what becomes our legal strategy going forward. So I just felt, Amos, we must just clarify all of those issues and assure the media that we are as innocent as we were before we knew of these charges. And we'll participate in this process. We're not going to run away. We're not going to try and evade arrest, no. So if there are questions that members of the media might want us to clarify, we'll do so.
Oh,
yes,
thank you so much, Mr. Mabe. In your remarks there, you say, who's the complainant? Are you suspecting, when you look at this case and doing an analysis, are you suspecting a third hand or a political witchcraft?
Well, you see, a court is not a branch of the ANC. So I always move away from wanting to bring politics where they don't belong. A court is not a branch executive committee. If there were politics somewhere being done elsewhere, it's not in court. This is a platform of law. It's a legal platform. But we are asking because, surely in Tandla, if someone complains, there's got to be an origin. They've got to say, I'm complaining because the assets are not there. There's got to be something. You can't just... So I'm asking that question based on wanting to establish what actually informed the complaint, so that in working out our approach on how we attend to the case, we are also informed by those facts. So I'm not... no, comrades mustn't be worried. I'm not going to be shouting names here and all of that. No. We are capable. We are capable of defending ourselves in universities. We're also capable of defending ourselves in courtrooms. So I refer to matata. No.
Mr. Mabe,
Yes.
Kumalo from Newsroom Africa. Just some clarity. You are stepping aside from your role as NEC. You are not resigning
Yes.
from the ANC.
Yes.
Secondly, you spoke about the SIU seemingly trying to make a case where there is no case. Are you implying that the SIU is coming after you for no reason?
Well, I'm not saying the SIU is trying to make a case where there is no case. We are told that the complainant in this case is the SIU. That's what we are told. It's not me, so that is very clear. Baba mmusho ba kgotla tshekelo ge re botša gore go bala badile mang ba rile go bala badile ba SIU. So that's the point I was making. I've got no issue against the SIU. All I'm saying is that I'm just helping the SIU understand that when they carry forward investigations, people get scared. Those things that they procured, they no longer use them. Now, even as they do statements and say they've made recoveries, they must also say these are the losses that we also experienced as a result of things that became white elephants arising out of our investigations. I can really would di kariki di duchi kwa 103 jo palla o loka because ha una di parts era re ba nlo tshela e ba di khere ja o no di ituletse ke tsa o ka di shiwa bano ke mmere gore batho ba tshie ba ka di she ba kra isele se. They were not bought for that. They were bought for a purpose. So I am saying, as a peace-loving South African who's responsible in his own dealing with public resources, I am also saying, let us all commit to make sure that the things we do, whether it's investigations or it's programs that we drive, they do not lead to undue wastage of public resources. Because when those things are sitting there in Seikerbos, I'm not an accountant, but it's in simple accounting terms, that is supposed to be referred to as fruitless expenditure. There's no way about it. So, again, a problem. I don't have an issue with SIU. I don't have an issue with any agency that might want to investigate me for whatever. I will submit myself to those processes. In the ANC, I will come to you, Pule. In the ANC, yes, indeed, I'm stepping aside from my position. You see, we went to a conference of the ANC. In that conference of the ANC, there are those who would have preferred to have me as a Treasurer General of the African National Congress. And there were more than 1,600. But more than those were those who voted for Comrade Gwen Rabohopa. And there were over 1,800. And by the balance of numeracy, Comrade Gwen emerged. She's now our Treasurer General. I had to go back even to those that would have supported me and say, comrades, we now have one Treasurer General. That Treasurer General is Comrade Gwen Ramogopa. Thank you for having supported me. Let us now rally behind Comrade Gwen. That is what the discipline of and doctrine of the ANC teaches us to do. Now the ANC takes a decision again and say, when you are charged or indicted to appear in a court of law, step aside. Doesn't say resign. So being charged of corruption, whether I agree with it or not, it's a serious charge. I don't have to wait for the Secretary General or for the Integrity Committee to reach out to me. Someone who's sitting in Nzingi, in Palabura, out in the Free State, Botshabelo, in the Eastern Cape, in Natal, must know through yourselves, popular mass media, that okay, the Keida is still part of the ANC. He has stepped aside from his position of responsibility. Something interesting. I took a decision not to go to Parliament because I knew that there was this outstanding matter. I didn't want to be embarrassing myself. You see, so I ke dutse ke le one ke fela ke kwa re ntwe e tlang ke le 40 ke dire branches had nominated me. I was not even going to be a subject of none re sa negotiate and na re tsela jarana ne di le botsana ne re dutse le ka national conference o bone ba re khethile monate re bua number 8 kwa a se re lase man o ka se re thusa ka dinomoro no we don't have a problem of support in the ANC, that one guaranteed, because we've carried ourselves in a manner and way that befits the right membership of the African National Congress, and we're also fine sitting there in 196 and participating in the life of our own branches. So I was not worried. I didn't go to Parliament. Not because I was not nominated. I was nominated. Comrade Deputy President Kgalema Motlante's office kept on calling. I had to dodge. If there's no part of my feet that was not painful at that time, I don't know. Chief Matsela called, give me one. Up until it had to close. Because my conscience did not allow me to rightly say, I mean, at one point I was at pains to tell my wife, she kept on saying, Mara was no accept her. Maybe Utafita will resign, I go pay no. Such an embarrassment. How many months? How many months now? I mean, May. Well, we spent maybe a month GNU, and then you count. July, August, September. 4 months in Yana already. I've decided to resign. Oh, no. I'm not resigning anyway. I'm just stepping aside because it's a decent thing to do. But effectively, I was already aside. I don't have a responsibility, a big responsibility in the ANC that requires me to be going all over. No, I'm not chairing a subcommittee. I'm not in the NWC. I'm not a member of the National Assembly. You know, I only had 20 meetings to attend in 5 years. You know, and the Eastern Cape province that I was servicing as a deployee to attend to those deployments. You know, and subcommittees of health as well as arts and culture, which I had to commit to. But I'm now this side.
Mr. Mabe from ANC, are you hoping this court matter will be resolved before 2027?
Can I ask why 2027?
Because of the ANC activities and the conference 2027.
So how does that affect me and my freedom?
Your participation there.
No, man. You are making a big mistake. Even when I was elected in the ANC Youth League, my wife did not know that I will come back as a Treasurer General. You see, I'm not a career politician. Let's get it there. You must just get it right there. You see, when I went to conference of the ANC Youth League and got elected as Treasurer General, I was going there supporting Malema, you know, and I was already working as a group executive, probably one of the youngest group executive of the country at that time. I was working for the South African Rail Commuter Corporation. Gave you guys in the country the name PRASA, Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa. Because in my responsibility as the head of marketing, I had to deal with the amendment of the National Land Transport Transition Act. And as part of that, we had to come up with a new name of what this company will be called. So at that time, and these are the things that excites me, at that time, I was able to give South Africa PRASA. No, we came with those names. I get it, those names did not come with God. Somebody came with the names. No. Even la prasa lona little legarena. So I'm not worried about 2027. No, because you see, I like saying to my wife and my kids, when I deal with notions of greed, I say in simple words, and this is what I was taught by my grandmother. Libita la chelete a ke le tsebe. Libita la monono. Hawa ke go nna re go tshekana go jela ja bo apartheid re sa bitsa batho di tycoon. A ke so go ba re no tycoon ye re tlo e boloka le chelete. Hawa mon. Ha. O nyoko mputsa re toka ya ka if it ke conference ya 2027. No man, I will be buried with myself. Ke ra re ka pala monna le ba ka roka ra NEC. E o kra accident ka tšatši lana leuwe la conference a decide gore modimo a retla o ka se bone conference. So why should you worry yourself about such things? My freedom is more important than but also what is more important is to assert innovating in a South Africa that requires new ideas for job creation, for economic growth and all of that. So I want to stand on that side. So I jabu 2027 warra I be re ska wara na are worry ka o ba di member of parliament or ka o ba di malogotla petition. No. That's why my malika ja di golo wa bona. Because you see ntwe tja di 2027 you are my comrade wa chabe school. Because e ba ka tseba or no, there's also borotho bo gona le ka mo di bukeng petrol law. Ba tla tloga le ya di BGM. Yela I know tla fela see this honor man. The fact that members of the ANC in the 30 years that I've been a member, I mean I've been a member of in fact I've participated in activities of the African National Congress effectively from 1992 as a young pioneer. And throughout 1992 till now, when I was a full-time member of the National Executive Committee, I've had the honor to serve the National Executive Committee of the Youth League for 2 consecutive terms. I have had the honor to serve the NEC of the ANC for 3 terms, for near 3 terms. At my age, I'm only 44. Man. There are people who are over 60 in the ANC who have only seen it on television. Na at least ke ile ka storamanya na stulo ka dula le bothabo mbeki re go jerisa tshepo ka dula le thabo mbeki ka dula le bontate Zuma ka dula le bontate Ramaphosa ka gona o ya birthday ya Mandela re go jere ba bona TV ngure bana re sa tshepo batho ba ba phela re bona no ba gona ora hi comrade Pule, can you please give me coffee? Then you realize ora these things are possible. Go ya ga ora bona ora no ntwela be re ntse re yemetse re fitlhile ke rena bjana. So I'm not worried about 2027.
Mr. Mabe, Bernadette Wicks from News 24.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, you mentioned that when that story came out on Sunday, at that point you hadn't been advised or informed of any
Yes.
pending arrest. I just wanted to know when you were, if you could share with us, when you were formally advised that you were going to be asked to appear in court today.
Ah, man, it no longer matters, man. Look, I think once you are charged, whether you are told last week or you are told now, it no longer matters. Because look, even if I was told this morning, is that going to help assert my liberty now? I'm a charged person. I mean, you know, the difference between you and me is that my freedom now comes with conditions. You see, when they give us bail, they give us something called bail conditions. I never thought that in 2024 I will also be, you know, running around with my wife when the only people who don't have conditions in our household are our children. The two of us have got conditions. Khotazo and Naledi don't have conditions. That's the price we have to pay for some of these things.
Mr. Mabe, it's Karenda from Kaya News. Do you believe it might be brought before the ANC Integrity Commission?
Well, I have said when I started that I've already telephoned and advised the Secretary General that I will be stepping aside as a member of the National Executive Committee. I will, in the very same space, advise the Integrity Commission of the African National Congress. I will also volunteer to meet up with them, to just take them on high-level issues so that I do not go into the merits and demerits of the case, given the fact that the matter is now sub judice, because it is before the court of law. But I'm going to be doing all of that. I'm going to ask to... I don't need to be... With us, you don't have to worry. We are very easy individuals. You don't have to worry about us, right? No. We'll ask. We'll ask to come and see you. We'll do the same. We'll write to the SG. We'll write to the Integrity Committee so that we can present ourselves and at least at a high level brief them. So that, because these are elders. I mean, I look at the Integrity Committee of the ANC as a council of elders. When you present yourself before a council of elders, let it be at your own request so that you can also get some wise counsel from there. We do, with myself and my wife, we do need counsel during this time because we are having to deal with a situation that we may not have anticipated. Okay, I'm sure that members of the media are well clarified, so we won't be talking to the media. We just felt that we must just clarify these issues. We don't have anything to do with talking to the media in the new responsibilities that we are performing, privately or otherwise. So if anything, Comrade Amos, on, reliable.
Thank you.
Sure.